into my take. And so I want to give my take and end all this stuff about the WNBA pay gap. I'm so sick of men basically having to be everybody's doormat, and for the fact that we have strived to do all the things that we that came to fruition, right? Worked this hard to build the NBA. The women has the WNBA, which is great, right? But the men is doing better than the women's basketball. Are you going to ask Chase to give Wells Fargo money because Wells Fargo is underperforming compared to Chase? Are we going to ask any top 500 fortunate, fortune, what is it? Top 5 fortunate companies? Are we going to ask them to give the smaller companies money just because the smaller companies are underperforming? No, right? This is the same situation. The fact that people are saying that it's unfair that women pay gap is way smaller than men, negating the fact that men earns more because they produce more. Why is it that in every scenario, when it comes to men, we have to somehow accommodate the young women? And what I mean by that is, if you look at a divorce, man has to accommodate a woman by giving half of his earnings. We looking at the NBA, and the man is now somehow is the blame for the pay gap because the because the my bad, I end up going out. See, the men have to now somehow feel guilty and have to somehow accommodate the WNBA players because it's a pay gap. Man, this is simple. It literally is simple. Basically, all has to be done is those same women that's going to the NBA games go to the WNBA game, support them, generate more revenue. I just want to show you guys this, okay? I want to show y'all this real quick because everybody talks about fairness until fair becomes unfair to men. It's never about how men feel and what's unfair to men. Everybody else we got to worry about. But when it's us, we can't cry about fairness, right? Let me know something. I'm about to show you guys this real quick. Okay? Here it is. Okay. There are only 144 slots across the WNBA 12 teams. There's 12 players per team. Okay. Now let's add that up. Let's do a little bit of division real quick. Because the WNBA, according to the sources, the I believe it's the New York Times or something, they only generating about $200 million. Okay, let's see. Even though we got GMs, we got all these other people that has to be paid. Now let's see, because they said it was unfair about the pay gap. I'm about to go ahead and just do a little bit of math. So I'm gonna do 200 million. 200 million divided by 144. Okay. So even with that, you're still not going to make as much as men does. You will make at most about 1.4 million. That's for all 144 players that's in the league if they were to do the pay gap evenly. Now, where's the problem? Okay, the GM hasn't been paid. The owner hasn't been paid. The coaches haven't been paid. None of the people that's been paid. So even if y'all can get the maximum amount of money, other people will be left out. So should we just get his 1.4 million to everybody else? I mean, just to the players and then forget about everybody else? Because I'm so sick of, in general, women compare themselves to men. That's why we're in such a dire situation now. Compare yourself to men. Men make $13 billion generated yearly in the NBA compared to $200 million for women. So how, by definition or default, how are you going to get the same amount of pay as men if you're not generating the same amount of revenue as men? That's just simple mathematics. Oh, this is a woman gap. It ain't just a woman gap. It's that nobody is going to the WNBA to support the WNBA. That's why somebody like Caitlin Clark is good for the WNBA. She's possibly good for y'all. Now I think she's the highest jersey sellers. Her jersey sold out. But y'all want people to be fair to you guys, but them being fair to y'all is unfair to them. Let me say that again. Men being fair to y'all is unfair to men. How? Let's say we do pay the women like the men. The women ain't generating the revenue that men does. Okay? But let's say that we somehow able to give them $100 million contracts. Did you not just see that the WNBA yearly has been producing $200 million? You got a person like Stephen Curry who's getting that in one contract. So Stephen Curry is generating more revenue in his contract than the whole entire WNBA. So how could you pay them the same amount of money? And you keep talking about pay gaps. This is very frustrating because it's like they want men to give everything to be at a disadvantage. It's like you want men to be at to create a disadvantage for everybody to be at an advantage, and we basically end up getting the short end of the stick because people want to do stuff that doesn't make sense. If we talking about business, it don't make no sense. Can't nobody explain or tell me any way that it's going to make sense to pay any woman, female, that nobody is going to watch $200+ million when that's what the WNBA is only generating in totality. I'm like, man, I am so tired of having these conversations, man. That's the thing. That's the difference between men and women. Men think off logic. Women are reacting off emotion. You feel like you should be getting paid the same as men. But using logic, how would that work? How? See, that's a state of delusion. It doesn't make sense. Start moving off what makes sense. That don't make sense at all. And the thing is, I'm going to support the WNBA. I am. But the problem is, I'm not gonna be delusional about none of it. We all know you make more, you get paid more. These people, some of them are making 100,000. Some of them, the high paid ones. But how could you pay a woman that money that ain't there? 200 million. I told y'all, if all 12 players on 12 teams get paid what the NBA generate, they will only still make 1.4 million. That's the lowest paid amount in the NBA. So how could y'all get paid what they getting paid in the NBA and y'all not generating that? It don't make sense. Can anybody help me make it make sense? None, right? You know what I'm saying? So like, man, I'm looking at it and I'm just saying, like, look, in this state, in this the way the world is now, it's like women want everything at the expense of men and then want the men to help them do it. That's the part I don't understand. First, I see stuff where it's, we don't need men, but now let's blame men because men making more than women, and that's unfair. Even though men are making probably 100 times the amount of women, what women is making and generating in the WNBA. Let's shame them for what we're going through. Let's shame them for the fact that nobody is coming to our games. Let's shame men at the fact nobody is coming to our game, including women. And in fact, if we had to do a statistic, more men support women's basketball than women. And it only makes sense that women go out there to support, and then y'all can have this debate. But the other problem is y'all need to go to these sponsors. Why aren't y'all go to the sponsors? Why aren't y'all saying, you know what? Why are y'all paying the NBA more than y'all paying us? Because they are getting a lot of sponsors. The NBA is. So they're getting more money in sponsors. They're generating more money. They have more crowd coming. They have thousands of people at their stadium when they play. The women have, maybe 100 or so. They don't have that many people playing. Coming to their games while they're playing. So let me know, man. And if you can help me make better sense out of it as to why women should get paid more, then please help me. And I'm all ears. I promise you, I'm all ears. I want to know, how do you think that you deserve what men paying? What men getting? That's a gap that is self-explanatory. The jersey numbers ain't the same. People in NBA are generating millions of jersey sales. The people that come to the game, they got thousands upon thousands of people at that game. Okay? They're buying things. They're buying merchandise. They're buying food. They're buying pretty much everything that they have to offer at the stadium. How many people are going to these WNBA games and buying things and they're making millions of dollars? It's not happening. So my thing is this, man. I don't live off of what society tells me I need to believe. That's not me. I'm gonna go off logic. And I can guarantee you, not one woman, even the ones that's on ESPN, that's telling you, women only getting 75,000. Look at how much they are generating. They're not generating nothing but $200 million. So by default, it's an unfortunate situation, but at the same time, you can't blame men. You can't blame the WNBA. You can't blame nobody for not going to your games. And then you got women that's hating on Caitlin Clark, or that have something to say about Caitlin Clark when she's going to bring a light to the game. On Angel Reese, when she's going to bring a light to the game. Cardoso, a lot of those women are going to bring eyes to the game. And they might bring in a little bit more revenue. So it only makes sense that you pay them higher. But when it comes to how much in the amount that you can pay them right now, you cannot guarantee much of anything because wasn't nobody going to the games. My friend was just telling me about how he had WNBA tickets for the Dreams, and he said he wasn't going. To him, the game is too boring. So, man, look, man, society has always pressured men to do for others, even at their own disadvantage. And that's unfortunate. So I'm not going to be the one to partake in it. I'm going to support the WNBA, but I'm not going to say, yeah, man, yeah, you need to pay the women just like you pay the men. That's not logical because women not generating what the men generating. The women not even generate $1 billion, and the men are generating 13 billion. So what is the difference? So you can pay them. See, and the difference is, and that would be the case with the WNBA too. Anybody that goes to the game, they go to see the player. But in the NBA, those players get that amount of money because they are the ones that bringing the players, bringing the crowd out. I have never seen nobody go to a game to watch the general manager or the owner. So the players in the NBA are the ones bringing them out. So it only makes sense to pay the players. In the WNBA, you got people to come in to watch the WNBA, but they not coming by the thousands. They might come by 100 or so, but they're not coming by the thousands. So you can't pay them the same. That's just common sense. But that's why, I'm uncertain about the WNBA because you getting women pressuring men and pressuring people to feel a certain way or to act a certain way. It's only going to turn people away from them. Because if you try to continue to make me go do something that I don't want to do, I'm just not going to even support it at all. And that's what I think that they are doing by telling people that women need to get the same pay gap and all this other. Okay, so are y'all going to make the women's league, since y'all want women to get paid super healthy, are y'all going to make the women's league a state funded organization, which means that for every woman that goes and play, that the government pays them the exact amount that they want in it from the NBA? Are y'all gonna do it like that? Because other than that, it ain't gonna make sense. If you are always in the red, okay, so I make $200 million and I want to make the same amount that men make, but the $200 million is the pot. But I want to make what men make, even though the man makes billions. That's all I got, man. Help me make sense out of this. Cause right now it ain't making no sense, and I want it to make sense. But for the most part, man, the WNBA, what y'all ladies have to do is focus, work hard, figure out and create new ways to evolve the game. But y'all can't rely on men and make it men fault because men may not find y'all style of play interesting. You can't do that. And it's been going on for far too long now in this new day and age. Let's guilt men into pressuring them into supporting us or somehow giving us money or whatever the situation is. That stops now. You know what I'm saying? Y'all want our support, y'all gonna have to earn it. Play the game a little better. And I personally know some WNBA players, so they know I'm not throwing those shots. But at the same time, I have to be understanding of how business work, and the way that women wanted it to be is not going to work. How we going to pay the same way? You talk about a pay gap, and y'all not generate not even a third of what we make. That don't make sense. But thank y'all for tuning in. That was my take